What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another edition of From Quitters to Winners. And today we're talking about something very near and dear to my heart. It's the troubled kids. You know what I'm saying? And I say near and dear because, you know, as a counselor, as their therapist, I got a soft spot for the troubled kids. Yeah, the kids who people give up on, the kids that cause little issues, because it's layers. They're like onions. You know, they got layers behind them, and I just enjoy helping them, really trying to understand that layers and what really puts them together. But before we really get deep into that, I got a story to tell you. And stop me if you've heard this before, but I was talking to a client one day, and they were telling me about how they got in trouble. Well, surprise, surprise. One of your kids got in trouble. Okay, that's not a surprise. But what was how she got in trouble. And she was telling me essentially that she was having a really bad day. Like she was getting into some frustrating friendship situations. Her mom was getting on to her, and she was really just having a bad day. And so she had been crying throughout the day. And so she went into class covering her face with her sunglasses. Now, if you can imagine, the teacher recognized that she was wearing sunglasses and asked her to take her sunglasses off, and she didn't comply. Right? She wasn't aggressive, didn't start yelling, but just said nothing first. When asked to take them off again, she said that she can't right now. To which then the teacher proceeded to write her up for defiance, right? And so what she was explaining to me when we got into our one-on-one session was that I didn't want anybody to see that I've been crying. I didn't want somebody to see that I was on the verge of crying, and I was really having a bad day. And in that moment, I just wanted to just be left alone. And so what I really want to talk about today is when you are in front of a student and you're asking yourself, what's wrong with this student? Right? Like, they're acting up, they're acting crazy, they're yelling, maybe they're defiant, maybe they're, isolated, maybe they're not responding. And you're thinking to yourself, what is wrong with this student? But I have to challenge you and tell you that you might be asking the wrong question. Because you see, the questions that we ask oftentimes allow us to get the answers that we really want. And so the question that you really need to be asking is, what is happening internally for this student? Because you see, whether it's an adolescent or an adult or an elderly person, there's always something happening internal for a person. Usually in counseling, we always like to say the why is just as important as the behavior. So if you're too busy focusing on what they're doing and don't think about what is causing them to act this way. Has something triggered them? Why does this student have their sunglasses on? The student normally doesn't have their sunglasses on. This student doesn't even wear sunglasses in my class. Is something happening with her eyes? Is it a black eye? Is it pink eye? Is it an infection? Have they been crying? There needs to be warrant some investigation when you see abnormal behavior. So this is where a lot of teachers go wrong when it comes to hand with the student. They're too busy trying to correct before they understand. Because you just want the behavior to stop, right? You just want them to stop yelling. You just want them to quit doing whatever that they're doing so that you can get back to teaching whatever it is that you're teaching. Math, science, English, social studies, finance, whatever it is that you're teaching, you're just trying to get through the lesson. However, what I need you to recognize is that if the student is not in a place for it to land with them, then you're basically just wasting your time. And so that is why it's important that you understand what's causing them to not engage, to disengage, to act inappropriately. It's important for you to try to meet them where they are. Well, Kameron, how can I do that? I'm not a mentally health trained professional. No, you're not. But what you can do is be a decent human being. And so there are some students who you can straight up shut everything down in front of everybody. Most students, they prefer the private board. They prefer the, hey, go to my desk real quick. Sit there for a second. I'm gonna talk to you in a minute. Or, hey, step out of the hallway with me. Let's have a conversation. Like, students typically prefer the isolation, the one-on-one, not the isolation, but the set aside, the private conversation to say, hey, are you okay? Hey, this isn't normal behavior for you. Can you talk to me about what's going on to you today? Or are you having a rough day? Did something happen? Or if you have insight over what's happening on that personal tip, if they've shared some personal information with you, then on the private boy, you can say, hey, did this happen? Or did you have a rough weekend? Or did this happen that we talked about before? It is those intentional moments that allow you to be able to re-engage with the student and get them back on track, to keep them from having a bad moment to having a bad day. That your intervention is the key to helping them stay on the right track instead of just, here's the referral. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my challenge to you in how you're engaging with the students, how you respond to their behaviors. Now, sometimes you're gonna have to sometimes you're gonna have to engage it immediately when it happens. Students start cussing, you're gonna have to break that down immediately. So you're gonna have to grow some gumption, you're gonna have to get some boldness, you're gonna have to say, hey, corners, you go over there, or hey, shut it down, or whatever the case may be, whatever it is that's your method, you might have to break that down right there and then have a follow-up conversation. But my challenge to you again is, before you seek to correct behavior, try to understand it first. Because the moment that you do, that's when you can understand what's making them throw in the towel. What's making them react the way they are? What's turning them into this quitting behavior? Because once we identify that, then we can partner with them, we can encourage them, we can motivate them to go into the winning mindset. And that is how you're gonna take them from a quitter to the winner. I'll see you guys next week.